everyone, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. Today we are going to deal with our stinky DIY free fertilizer because I haven't got around to fixing it up. If I'd only left it about a week, which I planned to, it wouldn't have been as smelly. But it is a little bit on the nose, but that's okay. It'll be great for the garden and I'll just mix it up a bit more diluted. So come and see how I refresh my garden beds during the season or just whenever they need it. I was going to leave this for about a week, but I've ended up leaving it for quite some time. I think it's been about 3 or 4 weeks. I moved it away from my boundary fence because I felt sorry for my neighbours. It was starting to be quite stinky. So this is our kind of tea bag of just weeds I found in my own garden. As you can see, the flies like it too. And I'll take that out and come back to it in a few days. This will go on the compost heap. What's in there? I won't show you that because it'll be green and slimy and disgusting, and I don't want to do that with one hand. I shall devote my attention to putting it on the compost, and it will help kick along the composters with all of that microbial goodness. So here we have our DIY fertilizer made out of just things you have at home that was free. I'll put the link to that video in the top right hand corner for you. We have a 9 litre watering can. We have a little container that can handle the amount of fertilizer we're going to put in and the correct amount of water for the fertilizer. So I'll just show you how I do that. So what I do is I have this amount which relates to 9 litres. So because I've left it for 3 or 4 weeks instead of 1 week, it's 1 to 20. So 1 to 20 with 9 litres is 450 mil. That's what I've got in here. Sorry, it's metric. Yeah, it's just 1/20th. So I just put the water in here. Now that's 1/20th out of water. So I just need to mark that on my container and I'll know where to fill the fertilizer up to for each time I fill a 9 litre watering can. I'm a visual learner, so that helps me if I just pour and go. I don't like measuring things every single time. So I just put the extra water in here for later. I lived through a very long drought for about 10 years in Australia, so really doesn't feel right to waste water. So now's the part where you have to put your rubber gloves on if you were concerned in any way about smelling like this stuff. It's sort of like a funky plant smell, but it is amazing. It is free, so I think it's worth it. Spilled a little bit, but that's about right. So I've written there what I'm doing. So if you want to keep this for later, you can put the lid on and just keep a bunch of those and keep them away from children, obviously, but I don't trust myself for that, so I'm just going to treat the whole garden today. Now we just top that off with water. So you might have noticed me putting my finger on the other side so that I can see the 9 litre mark there from inside, and you can see, maybe you can't, sort of like a very weak tea colour, which it would have been if I would have only left it a week. So more is not better. We are treating our soil here to some compost tea, and it's a solution that will help get the microbes going in your soil again. It's not, it's not just a fertilizer. That'll be a good tonic for the soil. Hoping our rainy weather's gone away for a little bit. It's going to get sunnier later into this week, apparently. So not too much of it should get washed away before it encourages the worms to get going and all of the other little microbes as well. Some other things that I do for my soil are eggshells. So I collect them in the kitchen, crush them down so they don't take up too much room. was funny. I apologised for something weird that I left in the kitchen the other day. Hubby says, "Don't worry, I'm used to weird things in the kitchen." He knows it's something to do with my gardening. So I had some sweet pea seeds that were soaking in water, and then I had to go out, and I thought, oh, I don't want them to dry out again because that'll ruin them. So I just left them wet and put a little tissue on top of them. So that was the weird thing I left in the kitchen the other day. But anyway, so we've got shells in their natural state, which will take about a year to break down and send its calcium to the soil. You may have seen videos say to cook your eggshells to sterilise them, which is probably a good idea, but I don't bother. It makes hubby feel unwell, the smell of it. Sort of like off meringue. But anyway, this is eggshells that I haven't cooked, but I've dried out completely for quite some time, and I've put them in my eggshell only coffee whizzer, and it's got wet because it was outside and I don't have a garden shed. It will still be fine to go on the garden beds, so whatever might need some calcium, I'll put that powdered eggshell on there. And the last thing I usually do for my soil, apart from usually sheep manure, I can get organic stuff pretty easily. I think most people can. I don't have any affiliation, but anything that's a seaweed emulsion, be careful of the ones that are cheaper because they might be diluted already. Doesn't mean they're necessarily worse, just means they may not be as strong as you think they are if you just use them like normal. This has a 20mm marker inside the cap, so for my 9 litre watering can I need 2 of those. There you go, I've done that, and we'll put a marker on there. You can just see that marker there, so I know that I just pour it in next time and then put it in my 9 litre watering can and fill it up to 9 litres with water. Easy peasy. So just be careful of the dilution of things you're using on your soil. As I said before, more is not always better. Don't just feed your plants, feed your soil. Also have some homemade compost just from veggie scraps and leaves. I've added a bunch of eggshells just because they were there. They will take ages to break down, as I said earlier, but that's going on the garden beds too, and that will help raise the level of the garden bed soil and prevent us having to buy some more. So because my time has been a bit fractured lately, I have been doing little bits, which seems to be working. So I'm pretty happy about that because I often forget to succession sow things in good time. Now I just sort of prioritise, which seems to be working so far. So I've got little violas here, which are edible flowers. I do have some already in the garden beds, but you can always have more, can't you? You can eat these ones too, violas. And climbing snow pea. This one is supposed to have really large pods, so that's handy, and they're both from Mr. Fothergill's, of course no affiliation. Well, I hope you're having fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.